Welcome to Up to Date, and today we'll be discussing racism, and not racism in football, but racism in general. Today I'm joined by
Isaac
and
Josh,
and we'll be getting their views of if racism is on the rise. So I don't know if you man saw, but there's been a recent clip going around about a black woman from Jamaica, I think, and she was racially abused by a white man on the Ryanair plane, and she got told to move even though he was racist. And like, there's a lot of groups within like the UK, like EDL, Britain's First, and a lot of like political groups that have been endorsing racism as like have been like fueling the fire. So I just want to get the views on racism in general. So T, as a black man, have you like experienced racism in any way?
Well, maybe I would say indirectly, but not directly. So nobody would say to my face, "Oh, you stupid black man," or whatever, and etc. But they would show it indirectly in the way they behave, how the aura around me, and the certain things that they will say. Like at work, I feel at times that people at my work are definitely cautious the way they speak to me and they approach me. And there's been definitely situations where I've had other black colleagues tell me, like one of my boss the other day told me something that was shocking. She was like, she was at work, our old agency, and she was talking to a client through email, and then they met for the first time face to face, and the client actually uttered the words, "Oh, I didn't expect you to, is this Michelle? I didn't expect you the way you write on the emails." And because she was black and from London, so when you write, and then she even tells me, when you're writing to clients on the email, just be as polite as possible, because they have a perception from the get-go. And but then again, what can we really blame them? If you look at the media and how black people choose to portray themselves, you can't really blame them. I find it shocking about one thing that I think I forgot the name, but that TV show on Sky One called Bulletproof, with the two guys that play they're basically two black actors that play. It's Ashley Williams from Top Boy, and then Noel Clarke, I think. I'm not
Noel
quite
Clarke,
sure. And then basically he was in an interview and he was like, we come so long and we're portraying ourselves differently. And then he says, we're getting to play black police officers. But then he goes on to say something so stupid and unnecessary. He goes and says, I'm not saying like for us to support the police or be with the police. Like, I'm not saying go out there and be a police officer. It's just like stupid comments like that. You don't need to add stuff like that. Like it just perpetuates and gives fuel to the point that black people hate police.
Basically,
if you hate police, you're on the other side of the law. Basically, you just don't need to say stupid stuff like that. It only fuels the whole conversation and the perception.
But the thing with police, like black people and police, like you can't really blame why black people are so rebellious against the whole police system, mainly due to the way police treat like black people compared to white people, what I'm saying? But in terms of racism, I've had my little bit fair share of racism. I was a bit young, but I still caught onto what they were saying. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff like that is personally I think it's disgusting. It's unnecessary.
Like
it's just unnecessary comments like like you dog, monkey, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like.
But what annoys me personally, I haven't experienced racism. Like I haven't experienced it. I'm not going to talk and say racist this, but I've seen stuff. But what annoys me is when I scroll through like social media, and obviously social media isn't the best place to get your content, but there are still videos on there. And the other day I saw like a black person getting arrested, and people filming it. And it's like, because he's black and this, that. It's not because he's black. The police have certain requirements to do it, and they're going to fulfill it. Of course, if he's a black guy, it's a black guy thing. And I feel like Kanye West said something about black people have this slave mentality where if nothing goes their way, it's because they're black, and that pisses me off because we've come a long way. We've come a long way.
I've said that from.
You know what I mean? And if you get stabbed, or if your house goes on fire, or whatever, who are you going to call? The police or whatever, and you're not going to be like, you're white, I don't want you to help me. You're gonna say help me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, cause I just feel like black people have this mentality, this thing where if it doesn't go their way, automatically it's because they're black. And I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Obviously, I totally agree. I've been saying this for a very, very long time. But however, like obviously, I wouldn't talk in terms of this country, but I'll talk in terms of America. That's where racism is at its. That's where racism is at its finest over there. You understand? So in America, there's police go through certain precautions when they're approaching a black man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Compared to a white person. But again, who can really blame police? Like, I'm more likely to get killed by another black person than a white person.
I mean, in this country, you're more likely to be killed by a dog than a white police officer.
You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that, like statistics like that, you can't really blame them. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, not everyone's the same.
Yeah. But then what's annoying is, like, I'm saying, although I haven't experienced racism, I don't think anything's being done, because when I saw the Ryanair thing, and it's saw how long it took for authorities to actually respond to that, bruv, it annoyed me. Like when Ryanair said we can't do anything about that, and even in politics you get racism, and it's this laughing thing, but black people don't help themselves. They go along with this racist joke.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of why racism is so perpetulant in our days. Is one thing is called pseudo facts. Now this is something that people don't realize, but it happens all the time. So a pseudo fact, pseudo is basically derived from the Latin word a grain. So a little single, it's like a single grain of sand. So what happens is that, I'll give you an example. So Kevin Hart, I was watching Kevin Hart last time, and he was making a joke, and he was about how crazy, you're dealing with a crazy black girl when she like swings her head to the side and she starts getting mad and shouting, and everybody started laughing, and it was like everybody nodding like, oh yeah, that actually happens. But rarely does it happen. I've never met a black girl that's gone into an argument that's done that, and that's done his head like that, swung his head to the side. But what it happens is that, so basically, say if you're a black person and you wear a hoodie and you commit a crime, and then you're shown that a couple times, you begin to think a black guy, if you see a black person or somebody with a hoodie approaching you, that same thing is going to happen to you. And that's a pseudo fact, because you've drawn conclusions from completely different things, and you've turned it into a reality which is not true, because stats show, and you cannot argue with the stats. You are less likely to be attacked with a black person in a hoodie than you are more likely to be killed by your own family member. This is a proven fact. But because you draw one conclusion and then you draw another conclusion, and then they're two separate ones, you put them together and you start to build like a sandcastle, and it becomes your reality when it's actually not true at all, and it doesn't make no sense at all.
But where would you say those facts or those their thoughts are drawn from? Is it like the media
news?
Because it is media. Because whenever there's like, if there was a white person on that plane and a black man said that would be all over the news. But this Ryanair thing, it took about a week for BBC and the police authorities to actually, like, social media played a big part. Twitter put all over, people complaining, and because of that, look what happens. Like, we've actually got this like case built up upon this guy, and he came out and said sorry, and automatically that's okay. So why are like white people getting away with it, but when it's a black man or a black person that does something racial or anything in general, there's so much hype about it.
I personally think there's a racial motivation. So like, we can't really do what white people do. You understand? Like, it's as sad as it is. Like, we can't really do that.
In what sense?
You know what I'm saying? In what sense? Like, say now, I don't know if you see the thing with Stormzy. I think he went to Cambridge, and he took a couple of black people over there. Like, a lot of people were shocked. Do you understand? Because you're not. People think it's not meant to be. Like, you're not meant to be there. Do you understand? And people create this stereotype like black people can't do this because of this, or because of our history. Do you understand? So really and truly, it's all like racially motivated. It's all created in the mind, basically. And
I'm gonna back that up. Because there was a story in the news. This is about last year, where this Oxford graduate or some person that went to Oxford, she stabbed her boyfriend,
And she got away with it.
And she got away with it because she's smart. But if that's a black man, bro, you're going to prison.
Okay,
that's that news. 6 o'clock breaking news. I'm telling you, 10 o'clock everywhere.
Josh, you said something interesting that I wanna ask you further on. When you say history, because of our history, what do you mean because of our history?
Because of our when I say because of our history of doing stuff, like I say that in terms of what we've been through. So in terms of slavery, in terms of where we came from, what we're doing now, especially.
Okay.
So say in terms of like
gonna pounce on
knife
the watch.
crime. Say in terms of knife crime. Say in terms of knife crime now.
Yeah.
Like what black people are doing now is insane. Do you understand?
Okay.
And so we get this certain perception that because we're doing this, we should be feared. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's not really a surprising thing. Like I'm sometimes, I can't go to certain areas. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because of the things that can potentially happen. Common sense isn't common. Do you understand? So you have to use your initiative and say, okay, cool, this is happening. I'm not gonna do this because I know what's gonna happen or what can happen. Do you understand? So people don't really take chances, especially white people. Like they don't really take chances from that, but that's really what it is.
It's interesting that you pointed out the history thing. Now this is something that I feel so strongly about, and it needs to really get out there. The mistake that often happens, which some people have called it the suffering of PTSD, and this is the thing. This is the problem because kids are being taught incorrect history.
Yeah.
So when we're growing up, as a black man, you're told about slavery in America. Brother, I am telling you now, that is not where your history comes from. If you know your history, you do not feel this whole thing about feeling sorry for yourself or you do not come from slavery. First of all, you come from West Africa. West Africa, richest continent, richest place that's ever been. Mansa Musa, who was a king, richest person that's ever existed in this world. Timbuktu, which used to be the financial hub of this world. It used to be the New York of nowadays. Most kids, they're not being taught this. You got wrong history being taught. Western philosophy, it all derives from African philosophy. The biggest civilization that is admired and we look up to, which is the Greek civilization, and the philosophers like Socrates and stuff like that. They stole their philosophy, their clothing and everything from Africa. That's why when you see the designs, it's so similar to African designs and everything like that. You do not come from slavery. That needs to be out there, and people need to understand. This is why America racism is prevalent, because they really don't know their history.
They don't, because like they said,
terrible.
What was it? Christopher Columbus founded America. That's bullshit. Like that's what I got taught in school. Christopher Columbus started, like, what was it called? He founded America. He didn't.
But then again, obviously racism and all of that doesn't really affect me. Like talking about history doesn't really affect me. But then again, you can't explain, like, everyone, Africa is, where everyone came from, do you understand?
Pangea, innit? That's where the whole world is something like that.
Africa is the center of everything, do you understand? So, gathering and talking about that, you can't really say you never came from slavery, and all of that. Because a lot of people did come from slavery.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You can tell they come from slavery because of their surnames.
You don't come from slavery. You've been through slavery.
No, it's not.
You don't come from there.
You man. This is slavery. But let's divert back to racism on the rise now. Of course, we talk about the history, but why is it happening now? Are you saying that because there's this perception of we've come from slavery, automatically, we're the underdogs or we're disadvantaged?
It's not on the rise. It's just that they're all coming out of their shell.
So it's always been there. So there is a rise because it's been there, but it's
just because something is not being shown doesn't mean it never existed. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Okay, cool.
So it's there, but it's just people not being promoting it.
Okay, so what would you say in terms of the children that are coming up through racism? What would you say about that? So what would you say about people that actually generally hate racism and are growing up, they're grooming their children to actually hate the black people in general? What would you say about that? That's always been happening.
So
it's a rise then.
It's not a right. Well, it's not a rise because it's like people say, "Oh, the Donald Trump thing is a rise in racism." These people have existed, and these people have always been there. But it's because now that they have a voice. Before they didn't have a voice.
Alright, guys. Cool. So obviously, we've discussed about racism, and obviously we've got an audience here. So I want to take a few questions from the audience. So let's go, Mansoor.
Obviously, you lot are saying that there's not slavery in front of your face. Is there hidden slavery and is there classism as well?
We'll start with T.
This country, I would say, in London, I would say definitely we are more classes. We suffer from social classism and all of that more than we do from racism. Racism is not our biggest thing here. Here is classism, and that's just where we come from. So I'll definitely say that classism is something that we suffer from. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And Josh?
I think it's classism as well. Like, it's just a really, really bad hierarchy over here. But we don't really have any issues in terms of racism here. So
yeah, I feel like we're lucky.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a society
London's
where
very, very multicultural.
Yeah, where like obviously in London, culture is accepted. Everyone embraces different cultures. But I think I'm with you guys. I think racism, but classism, I think there is a big thing because as soon as like we talk about black people, we say working class. You know what I mean? And we automatically put like ourselves in the class. And if you look at jobs, top jobs are owned by the white people. There are black people there, but majority white. Yeah. But let's go to the next question, Mills.
Do you think racism can never be stopped, and if so, how?
That's difficult.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I've had this philosophy in my head, and I've always said it. I said that. Do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in God.
If you do believe in God, you cannot believe that this is the best and this is the world that we're supposed to live in forever. So my philosophy derives from that fact. Then my philosophy is it's not about stopping it, but it's about trying to stop it.
Yeah.
We're never gonna stop it because
you can't eradicate racism.
You can't. It's because it's like saying let's eradicate some type of evil. You're not supposed to eradicate it, but you're supposed to be there to try and stop it.
I think
it's human growth.
Like with religion, obviously everyone can't be the same religion, but you got to find a way for everyone to live in a society where we can respect one another and live life. You know what I mean? But
it's about human growth.
It's human growth, yeah. I'm on that. Mansoor.
Alright, we spoke about that. What about racial profiling? Do you think it's easier for someone with lighter skin to get a role in a job or a hierarchy to someone with darker skin?
Alright, let me start on this. There was a study that someone close that I know done, and he applied for him and his white friend applied for the same jobs. They had the same grades, same like resume, same experience, but the only difference was the names. And who got the job? The white guy. And obviously, like I said, black people, we have this mentality of the slave mentality. Whenever something doesn't go away, we automatically assume it's racism.
Yeah.
But that's clear cut. Like, why couldn't both of them get employed? Obviously, this is just one example from many, and obviously it's not on a worldwide scale. But it's taught me a lot. I don't know have you guys had any experience about racial profiling or?
Not at all. I haven't had any experience with racial profiling.
But do you feel like there is racial profiling within society?
100%. I think there's racial profiling in society. Racial profiling in a lot of places, but in terms of hair, I don't really think. In terms of hairs in England, I don't really think there's much of it as it is in America.
Yeah.
You understand? I think America is where racism is, really kicking off there. So that's really it, really true.
There's massive racial profiling, but it's funny because I think when it comes to racial profiling, the example given about if you're lighter skin, you get picked for a role. I definitely think that applies more to black or darker skinned females than it does to darker skinned males.
Yeah.
I think darker skinned males is like a drive, and to be honest, we've had people to fight for us all the time. Mm-hmm. We've actually had people to fight for us all the time, but black females, especially dark skinned females, that thing is just on the rise, where you got Viola Davis and all of those people in Hollywood that are now starring in big movies and playing big role. But you can't lie to me, like people, and a black man himself would prefer a lighter skinned girl than to.
I was gonna say, that's my next thing.
You think it's a joke? Like they'll actually
That's my
prefer
thing,
it.
it's true.
Sometimes, and you just got to be honest with yourself. Sometimes, a lot of them prefer that than
the darker skin woman.
So then why, if you're them type of guy,
And you're black yourself.
please don't be complaining about it because you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But would you think that's down to racial profiling, or would you think that's down to the experience they've had with black girls?
I don't think it's experience. I feel like it's people are so insecure, you know what I mean? People always feel like they're being judged. If I don't have the perfect girl, the lightest girl, people, like, I won't be on this platform with other people. And that's how genuinely is. Like, I got friends that don't want to come out because they haven't got the correct shoes to come out. Like, if my friends are wearing, all your friends are wearing Balenci's or, you know, McQueen's or whatever, and you come in with Air Forces to a motive, you're gonna feel left out. You are gonna feel left out. But this mentality is a goal. But anyways, I want to wrap up. Last question. Let's go.
Listen, do you think there's racial bias when it comes to police?
Do I think there's racial violence? I feel like
bias. Bias.
The last question has to be the hardest question.
police. I obviously I cannot see and argue, but then I have to say this here because I've been in situations with the police and stuff, but it's how you handle it and you the way you bring yourself about in this
But do you think
situation.
they specifically target black people?
Yes, and I don't blame them. I'll be honest with you, I don't blame them. Let me tell you why I don't blame them, especially in London. When you're looking at the stats, yeah. Let me just understand this from this. Understand this from this second.
I'm with you.
Look at it. When you look at the stats, all crimes being committed and these knife crimes, yeah, more than 80% are coming from the black community and the Asian community. Now, if you're a lawmaker and whatever, I'm part of police commission and stuff like that, would you go and target areas predominantly with white people, or would you target areas that these are coming from and the stats are showing it? I don't agree with the tactics that they're using, but then again, I don't agree with the tactics because police don't prevent. That's not what the functions of a police officer. They're to enforce the law. So if you're using the police as a scheme to prevent crime, mate, that's never gonna work, and it's never. But where else can they target?
I think it's just the experience. I think you need to experience it to really determine what's going on. Because if you can't really experience it, you can't make that kind of decision when you haven't fully experienced what someone else has experienced. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I think it's all down to the experience that you have with police. Like personally, I haven't had any problem with the police here.
Yeah.
It might be different when I go abroad.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Like,
so I haven't had any problem with that.
Like,
So
I was gonna say, like, when 2 weeks ago during the bonfire nights, I was with my mates and we're doing fireworks and police came and stopped us. And like, I'm not gonna go and tell my friend, oh, yo, film this because police stopped me. They're doing their jobs. Stop and search. Oh, what's your name? This, that. Little 10 minutes, have a laugh with the police, go away. But with us people, we like to, when we get stopped by the police, yo, let's film it, let's bring everyone, let's put it on social media and then blame it.
And
you know what I mean? Start swearing, and then that makes us look bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Can't respect that.
I don't understand. Like, if you get stabbed, or if your mum is in a coma or whatever, let's just say, God forbid, but let's just say, who you gonna call? You're gonna call the emergency services, and if they're white, you're not gonna say I don't want them because they're white. They're doing their job. But I just feel like we got this mentality, black mentality, where anything that goes against us, even in schools, oh, because I'm black, or because I'm this, and we need to stop that. I feel like that needs to stop. And Kanye West said that, and when Kanye West said that, but we got this slave mentality, what do people automatically do? Go on social media, oh, he's one of them, he's white. Why did you draw a conclusion without knowing the full story? And that's why I feel like people are quick to jump to conclusions, and I feel like once this stops happening, I feel like we'll, as black people, will progress. But we haven't got enough time, so we can wrap it up there. Thank you guys, like your views, you had strong views, and that's week 2 of Up to Date, and that was racism. If you have any questions, put in the comment section below, but share, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next week. I've been Waleed,
Isaac,
Josh,
and see you next week, guys.